Hello, America. I'm President Donald Trump, the greatest president in the history of the United States. You know it, I know it, everybody knows it, and everybody agrees. You know, for years people have told me, Donald, don't run for office. That would be crazy, that would be ridiculous. And you know what I said to those people? I said, shut up, Hillary. You know, today I plan to give you a great gift. The greatest gift that anybody can give anybody ever. Everybody knows it. And it's going to be a walk with me down the aisle of my life and how I came to be the president of the United States. It's going to be great. It's going to be huge. I'm excited. Let's take you guys on a journey. A great deal of people have helped me on my road to becoming president, not the least of which is Mike Pence, former governor of Indiana. Now, this is Mr. Pence over here, and I would like to introduce him to the people of America. Mr. Pence. He seems to be sleeping. Mike, wake up. Wake up, Mike. You're on film.
I didn't think this was till 7. Shut that off.
Shut it off!
Shut that off.
You heard him. You're fired. Fired. You're fired. Shut the thing off.
Hello. My name is Mike Pence. I am the Vice President of these United States. A little bit about me. Well, I'm the father of 3, and I was the governor of Indiana since 2012. Something people don't know about me, however, is that I am a passionate statistician. Some people have told me it's almost like a secret power. I happen to agree with them. I can switch my brain into stats mode and blow people away. I control most of the, statistical thinking here in the White House. Me and my private investigator, Donald, gets a little irritable when we talk numbers.
What did you say about me?
Nothing. We're good. You know what's funny? I've known Donald for a long time. If I asked him what 2 oranges plus 3 oranges is, he'd have no idea. None at all. But if I asked him to calculate the return on an investment, he could do it in his head, no problem. It seems whenever money is involved, he becomes a whole new person. It's really something to behold. He could probably even do that in his sleep. In fact, in the early parts of the campaign, we actually tried to steer you out. And the results, kind of astounding.
Yeah.
Alright.
Talk to you later, Putin.
Alright. Donald. So if I had 3 oranges in my right hand and 2 in my left hand, how many would I have in total?
Mike, I thought I already told you this. I don't do that kind of stuff. Let me call my numbers guy. He's very qualified. He's very good at this stuff. Alright, I'll get back to you on that.
Okay. Donald, what is return on a $20,000 investment for 15 years at 4% interest, compounded annually?
$36,018. You know, early in the campaign, we did have some rough patches, but ultimately there was no doubt that we'd win the race for presidency. You know, I have some of the best people on my staff. I hired them personally, and they're the very best people. There was no doubt in my mind that we'd win. Ultimately, there was one group that was giving me all sorts of fits, and their name is CNN. They are fake news, and if there's one thing I cannot stand, it's fake news, because I can give the best speeches that I want and use the very best words, and we all know I have the best words. But if there's fake news out there, that was going to be a challenge from the very beginning.
Mr. Trump.
Yes, you over there. Yes, what do you have to say?
A recent CNN poll shows you trailing in national support at 35% to Mrs. Clinton's 65%. Do you have any comment on the validity of your campaign?
What?
The validity of your campaign. Do you have any comment on it?
I'm sorry, I have to apologize. I think I go deaf every time I hear fake news. When do we go to the next question? As much as I didn't want to say it, this 35% number was killing me. It was making me crazy. And normally, I'm the nicest person that I know. My wife tells me that, at least. But You know, I was becoming short-tempered, I was becoming irritable, I was becoming an insomniac. I could not sleep at night. But little did I know that the power of stats would save me. The power of stats. Man.
Donald, you gotta tell me what's wrong, man. Like, you're restless. You can't go to sleep. What's been up? Ever since the press conference, you've been all out of whack.
Mike, do you think there's any way that this 35% can be true? Is there any possibility?
You see, Donald, that may be the dumbest thing I've ever heard you say. And that's kind of saying something, as we've been friends for a good amount of time. As a matter of fact, I actually brought in a private investigator to figure this out for us. You see, I had him take a simple random sample, which is stat term, of 1,000 U.S. citizens, asking them whether they would support you or Hillary Clinton in this election. His proportion that answered in your favor was drastically different than CNN's. Go figure, they're fake news. He came back with 550 out of the 1,000 people said that they'd support you in the general election. Only 450 supported Hillary. It's math you can do.
Wait, but how does that prove anything statistically?
Proof statistically?
Soon to be President Donald Trump.
The pleasure's all mine. I'm President Donald Trump. I will be the president. Everybody knows it. All of America knows it. Let's just get that straight.
My name is Ryan Sherry. I'm the famed private investigator Mr. Pence hired. Now, Mr. Pence just told you about a sample proportion that you have 55% of the national support. We all know CNN made a claim that you have 35% of the national claim.
It was fake news.
Which was fake news.
There's
Now,
no way.
that claim, or that sample proportion, is nothing but a sample proportion until we run a significance test on it with something to compare it to. Now, in order to do that, we need a claim and an alternative hypothesis. The claim, P equals 0.35, because 35% was the claim that of national support you have.
The CNN made.
That CNN made, which we can't trust.
I don't agree with it.
Whereas the alternative is the 0.55 that I took in a sample I did. Now we plan to test if the difference between these two proportions is significant enough to reject the claim that 0.35 is your national support. Now all tests need two things. Who we're generalizing in the test and the type of test. Now the type of test is a one proportion z-test.
Wait a minute. Stop everything. Stop everything. Alright, even you. Stop. Stop moving. Why is it one proportion? I thought there's two proportions there. There's two P's. I see two P's. Two PPs.
That would be true, except for the fact that the two proportions are derived from the same sample. A two proportion z-test should be applied when not only there are two proportions, but the two proportions are taken from distinct samples. Anyways, in order to be even sure that we can run the significance test, we must check a few conditions first, 3 to be exact. The primary condition is randomness. This doesn't mean we randomly throw a bunch of numbers on the board, or that we use a random sample proportion, but this is rather a sense of organized randomness. It means that we randomly chose our sample from the population of interest, which in this case is all U.S. citizens. In our case, we took a random sample of the entire U.S. And now we can proceed to the second condition, which is independence. Now in this case, we must make sure that the sample we choose from is not too large, which could mess up the procedure of our test.
Wait a minute. I thought a large sample was a good thing. That's what Mike told me. I think he's struggling with the board. Why don't we get Mike to help him out? Mike, can you hold the board for me?
Thanks.
Help this man out. You can't do anything.
Mr. Trump, I actually brought a cheat sheet with the results of the test that I ran when I first took the sample.
I think you're forgetting about my question.
Oh, I'm very sorry. Usually it is a good thing, but not necessarily for significance tests. It can actually inhibit our ability to even perform a significance test. First and foremost, the sample we took was too large, it would likely center out the sample proportion at or very close to the population, which would negate our use of the normal model, a key component of significances. Plus, the basis for a significance test is in the creation of a model with countless hypothetical samples. And if some individuals are represented theoretically in numerous samples, this can potentially skew our data from what it should have been had a proper sample been utilized. This condition is used using the 10n is less than population, which checks out for us because 10 times 1,000 is 10,000, which is far less than the population of all United States citizens. The final condition is the normal condition, which essentially just ensures that there are enough expected successes and failures to run the test. In this case, a success would mean a Trump supporter, while a failure would be a Clinton supporter. The threshold we have to reach is an expected number of at least 10, which certainly is met in our sample NP, or 1,000 times 0.35, which is 350, or n times 1 minus p, which is 1,000 times 0.65, or 650, both above 10. Does this make sense, Donald? Donald, come on, wake up. Wait, I have an idea. Donald, I have money. Yeah,
Someone say money?
you can get some. You just stick with me for just a few more minutes. The formula for a 1 proportion z test is Now we use the z-score to determine our p-value. Our p-value is the probability that, given the null, we would yield a proportion of this in a given sample. We then compare our p-value to the significance level, which is the region where whether or not the p-value is far too low for the null to be true. In this case, our p-value came out to a absolutely ridiculous number. It was less than 2 in 10 duodecillion. And no, I did not make that number up. That is 1 with 40 zeros after it.
40 is not a big number. I have more houses. I have more everything. I have more $1 bills in my pocket right now.
Because our p-value is lower than any significance level that we would ever use, we can reject this hop.
I'm sorry.
Reject this claim that 0.35 is the true proportion of those that support, of all U.S. citizens that support Donald Trump.
I'm sorry, I can't get over this whole thing, but great job. I could not have done it better myself. I could not have said it better myself, but now that I think about it, I probably could have, because I'm me and I have the best words. I have truly the best words, but well done. Thanks for coming in, man. I appreciate your work. Thanks. As it turned out, Ryan was right, spot on about every single thing he said. And as it turns out as well, I won the election. So, America is now in the biggest and best hands that it's ever been in. You know it, I know it, everybody knows that they're coming out with the measurements of these hands right now. But stats truly did save the day. And I'm not one to just say things to say things. I genuinely mean it. Stats saved the day. And these big hands will continue to save many lives. As I'm President of the United States of America.